I didn't get to where I'm at just by myself. I got help from multiple people. Nobody that's good at this just did it on their own. Every good salesperson that's been doing this for a while. You don't pay for coaching to learn how to sell. You pay for coaching to help you sell more.
All right, boys. Today I'm joined with the sales coach of our agency. All right, bro. Who are you? What do you do?
My name's Sam. I'm the coach over here at the agency. I coach all of our clients. I've also been a closer myself for both this agency and a couple other offers as well. 2025, I cash collected about 829K. I've collected millions over the past few years, and especially if you incorporate our clients, I mean, we're looking at easy 7 or 8 figures. So, yeah, I've been doing this for a bit and here to help out.
Love it, bro. First question I want to ask you is, what's your favorite part about sales and just pretty much running the operation of sales?
Well, it's kind of 2 different answers, to be honest with you. I would say the most fun part about sales is the adrenaline rush you get when you close the deal. I mean, that's
getting the payment notification, bro.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you see it come through in the close channel, it's like new payment, new client. Like, that feels awesome. It's like there's so much tension over the course of a sales call in your body, and like it all just releases after the deal comes through, and it just feels great. It's like drugs almost. So there's that piece of it. But no, in terms of the coaching aspect, like just being able to explain something to another person that you're really, really knowledgeable about, and like actually giving them that information and seeing how they process it when you tell them, like just seeing their minds get blown, it just makes you realize how far you've come and like how much you're actually helping that person, and it's really fulfilling, to be honest. I would say that's probably my favorite part about the coaching aspect, I would say.
And I know a lot of people that are probably watching this video take their own sales calls. They have sales calls coming in, but they likely press on this video because they're struggling with their sales calls. They want to close more deals. So I feel like the perfect question to first start this video is, what are the 3 biggest objections that you see come through personally, and how do you personally handle each of those objections?
Good question. So the 3 biggest ones I would say are going to be, think about it, shopping around, and to be honest, like just people that just refuse to make decisions. Like, you do get those A-types sometimes. So tackle each one in a brief way. And obviously, there's more elaborate answers to all of these, right? But for the think about it objection, I mean, usually it comes from a place of uncertainty. I would say the majority of the time, it's more so than anything, like it's more so a smokescreen than anything, to be honest. I'm sure you've heard that. Probably everyone that's watching this video has heard think about it as a smokescreen, but like you have to really figure out how you want to handle it, right? And how to actually get the real objection out, because people know they have to get the real objection from think about it, but they usually don't know how. Right? They think they know how, but then they try and they don't get it, right? So usually what I like to do when someone says think about it, I like to first of all make sure that we're on the same page. Like, okay, just so I know, just you can always think about it. Like, I'm not going to make you do anything, but just we're on the same page. Like, do you believe like what everything we just went over? Like, is that going to get you to your goal? Like, do you actually believe in that process and everything we went over? Make sure you get that verbal yes from them, and then say, okay, well, like, dude, like we're on a call. Like, just out of curiosity, like what's making you hesitate? What do you want to go over in your mind, right? Make sure you're using the tonality of you're on their team, you're trying to help them, right? Of course. And then from there, usually you'll get the real objection, right? Whether it's the money, or whether it's they want to rely on somebody else, or whatever the real objection is. That's usually how you overcome thinking about it, is by finding the next one. Sometimes about 30% of the time, people don't know this, but sometimes it really just is the process. Like, they just never make decisions on calls. Like, and that's kind of the third biggest one that I get a lot, just selling B2B especially, is a really big one as well. For shopping around, once again, usually comes from a place of uncertainty, right? And you got to understand, you got to think about it from their perspective, right? If I'm shopping around for something, I'm usually shopping around for a certain thing, right? So first thing I'll try and do is, when I hear that they're shopping around, I'll usually get that in the discovery. If you do a good discovery, that is, right? I'll usually get that there, and I'll be like, okay, well, let's try and logic frame this, right? Usually when I'm shopping around for something, let's say I'm shopping around for a car, I'm usually shopping around for a specific kind of car with a specific price and like a certain amount of miles, right? Like, that's why we're shopping around in the first place, is to find the thing we want, right? And then I get that agreement, and I go, okay, so like, what's the specific thing that you're after? Like, what's the perfect fit for you, right? And I'll get that answer, and then once I have the answer, I'll be like, okay, well, I mean, dude, like, on your end, is it more so like I'm just trying to shop around for the specific perfect thing? Like, that's what I want, like I'm shopping around for a thing? Or is it more so like I'm just not going to make a decision? You know what I mean? And if you make this the second option sound, like to be stupid to give that answer, you'll usually get the first answer, which is what you want, right? And that's the best way to overcome it, in my mind, right? And if it's a no, I refuse to make a decision on this call, then you have to reframe, which is a whole different can of worms, right? And that's the thing with the I don't make rash decisions objection. You have to reframe, and it can be difficult to learn that. But usually, what I like to do as a reframe is I'll ask them, to get different outputs, like do you have to do what? You have to do different inputs, right? So for you, right, just so I know, like, I'm not trying to hate, or I'm not trying to, try to do an audit on your decision-making process, but like I'm guessing you always made decisions this way, right? And they'll say, yeah, no, I always make decisions this way. I always take 24 hours. I always sleep on it. I always chat with my wife, whatever, right?
That's like such a common one, bro.
Oh yeah, right?
You always mention it.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, well, dude, what if, you have to pat and interrupt now. What if it wasn't what you thought it was, right? Use the right tonality. And then they'll say, oh, what do you mean by that, right? And I'll say, well, dude, like, I'm guessing this mainly comes from a place of the fact that you've tried things before and they haven't worked. Like that's why you do things this way, right? They'll be like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be like, okay, well, given the fact that you always think about decisions before you make them, right? And you've done that before and it hasn't worked. I mean, what does that say about the decision-making process of taking time to think? Well, what it tells me is that no matter how you make the decision, you're always going to run the risk of whether or not it works. So instead of making the decision based on, the frame of, I'm not going to make a decision before 24 hours and thinking that's what's going to get you the result, maybe you should make the decision based on like the actual process that you're actually buying, right? Like let's make a logical decision, not an emotional one, right? And I'll kind of frame it that way. And then once they get their approval of, maybe making a logical decision is the idea, and then you should make a decision based on the things that you're buying, right? Then that's the easiest way to overcome it, right? And there's more of a deep dive on how I could do that, but I'd be talking about it forever. So, it goes a lot deeper than that, but that's the best way to summarize it.
Yeah, it's good. All right, now I know a very common problem that a lot of other people have, especially when taking sales calls, is the show rate. Like they'll have tons of calls in their calendar every single week. The calendar will be booked out.
Yeah.
But they'll just be wasting time sitting there on the call. No one shows up.
Show rate's a huge issue.
It happens all the time. So what do you do specifically for show rate to ensure, 80% or 70 to 80% of those people are showing up to the calls?
Yeah, well, there's kind of a process you have to follow. And I would say with show rate, first and foremost, it's really about making sure you're doing your due diligence, right? Like, that's the biggest thing. Most people have a process that they don't really follow, right? And they're not really keeping themselves accountable to that. So that's the first thing, just making sure you're accountable, right? But if you don't have a show rate process that you've seen work for your own offer, then I'll give you one right now. First of all, you have to be getting a quality conversation in with the person before the sales call, right? Ideally with you, or if you're doing this at scale, with a setter, right? But that you need to be getting a conversation in with the person, right? And I know a lot of the people watching are probably more in the startup phase of this whole operation. So I would say make sure you're calling the booking. When you see that booking come in, ideally call them within the first minute, right? In my opinion,
quick as possible, bro.
Dude, when I see a lead come in, or when our setter sees a lead come in, like it's literally
literally
the millisecond it comes in.
He's already on his phone. He says it comes just instantly.
Yeah, call them instantly, right? Ideally. But not you obviously can't with every lead, but within the first 5 minutes is a good KPI, right? So do that. Now, when you're talking to them, make sure that you're having a real conversation, right? And I like to almost treat it like a mini sales call. Like, do a real discovery on them, right? Figure out what they're doing as a business model. This is obviously for B2B. I'm talking about for our own offer, right? But figure out what they're doing as a business model, what their current bottlenecks are, what they made them want to click on the ad, right? Get them to really talk about their pain points. And then from there, instead of selling your offer and selling the price and doing all that, you're selling the offer in a way, but you're selling how you're going to help them with that on the call. So you're basically selling the call and why the call is going to be so important to show up to, because you're going to talk about how you're going to solve XYZ problem for them, right? So first of all, you're making them identify pain verbally, right? That's going to then create urgency for them to actually make a difference and change something, right? And that change is going to be them hopping on the call with you, right? That's the biggest thing. Number one, setting call is extremely important. Now, if they're not answering, I would say blow their phones up as much as you can without losing your mind. Honestly,
I'm getting pissed off.
I'm SMSing them 3 times with three different messages, right? That I have kind of planned out, like within my show rate playbook. I'm calling them, I'm double dialing them, I'm triple dialing them. I'm doing everything I can to get that conversation in. That's extremely important.
I think a lot of people, they just think once the call's on their calendar, like done, wait for the time of the call.
Yeah, they're just going to show up. Yeah,
cash is going to come into the pockets, boys.
No,
it's not really the case.
No, not at all. If you were doing that, that's going to happen about 30% of the time, right? And
that's why your show rate's 30%.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's what's going to happen. Now, if there's a cadence for people that don't answer, because not 100% of people will answer. But if you're really blowing their phones up, 80% of the time they're picking up. Like 80%, at least 80%. Now, from there, what I also do is I send out a video the night before, right, talking about what we do, like a little pre-call asset with some copy and a call to action to make them respond, first of all. And then in the morning of their call, I'm sending them over an SMS, right, just making sure that they're good to show up, sending them the meeting link again over SMS, and I'm going to call them in the morning, right, just to make sure that person is going to be able to show up to the call, blah, 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 right? And if I call them in the morning, I'm not going to necessarily need to super hard pre-qualify that or anything like that, right? Mainly at that stage, it's just like, no one's going to take that slot. May as well just take the call. Just make sure they're showing up to it, right? So that's what I'm doing in the morning. That's what I'm doing at night. And then the number one thing is get that setting conversation in.
For sure.
Like that whole process I just broke down, like I said, like 30% show rate is probably pretty typical, right? If you're just kind of letting them book in and letting automations take care of it, right? But if you're doing all that stuff manually, I usually routinely see people go from like 30-40% to like 70, 80, even 90% show rate.
I think the pre-call video asset as well is something that like it takes you a step further, and not a lot of people do it, and I feel like that's like a game changer for sure.
Dude, that's the most overlooked piece of a sales process. Like that is the most overlooked piece, and not a lot of people pay too much attention to it. They think that all the magic happens on the closing call. And it's like, yeah, if I'm a good closer, I'm just going to close who's in front of me, right? But the thing is, if you want something predictable, right? You want a close rate that's predictably good, like not predictably 10%, I'm talking predictably 40%, right? If you want a predictably good close rate, then you need to put yourself in the best possible position to close that deal on that call, right? And the thing is, like, while yes, we want to make them, on the closing call, we want to overcome the decision-making things, and we want to overcome the think about it, right? And can you do that on a sales call? Yeah, right? But it's going to make it even easier if they know what your offer consists of before the call happens.
So much is done actually before the call even occurs.
Yeah,
like majority of it is actually done through that.
We have like a 5-10 minute pre-call video we send out to every single prospect, right? And it really just kind of talks about the whole front to back end of the offer. It tells them they need to be able to make a decision. This is basically your sales process, right? Show up to the partner with show up to the call with their business partner, right? It overcomes so many objections, logistical objections. It lets it kind of simmer in their mind. That way, when they show up to you, they're going to have those extra questions that usually come up, right? You're going to answer those questions for them, customize it to them through the pitch, right? Which you're still going to do, right? And then from there, you just have so much more leverage to close that deal. Like a lot of those people that you might have to objection handle for 90 minutes to 2 hours, right? They'll get closed in that hour just by doing that pre-call process. So that's the most overlooked. I'm telling you, if you're not using a pre-call video, like that's 5 to 10 minutes long, and you're not getting people to watch it consistently, you can expect at least a 10% jump in your close rate, like instantly 10% more.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of leads to my next point, because the next thing I was going to ask you is like, what is the most overlooked aspect of actually closing a deal? Would it be the pre-call video, or is there anything else that you think as well that people wouldn't even think about that would actually help them close more deals?
I don't know if it's overlooked. It kind of is overlooked in a way. People know about it, but they don't really pay close attention and actually like sharpen their craft with it. That's going to be tonality. Yeah. People know tonality matters, right? But like
obviously all the reels on
Instagram. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you see the Instagram reels of the guys objection handling, right? Classic. You see the word tracks, you see the reframes, and you're like, dude, I'm going to use these on my calls. And then you use them and it doesn't land, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's a reason for that. It's because, first of all, you didn't do a good call beforehand to even prep them to be in that position in the first place. But to the way you're delivering it makes it sound like you're trying to close them. You know what I mean? And your reframes and your tonality, everything relies on your tonality, because ultimately a call with a prospect, it's 20% of what you say and 80% to be honest. Like that's everything, because the way that people perceive a message, the words mean less than all you care about is the way that they perceive what you're saying. That's really what matters, and people perceive based on tonality, not necessarily only based on the words you say. So I think people are aware of tonality and why it matters, but
they don't understand like the full importance of it.
They don't understand just how important it is.
Yeah, and how to do it properly too.
Yeah. Yeah, how to do it properly, which is a whole another can of worms, right? But yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. I'm actually glad you went over that. One more thing I want to go over with you as well is for the people to take home today that are watching this video. So whether you're an agency owner and you're taking your own sales calls, or you're a closer and you're taking sales calls for another company, what is something that a current agency owner or closer can do today to help improve their close rate on their calls this coming week?
Okay, well, a couple of things. First of all, this coming week, I would watch back your own sales calls. Try to imagine you're the prospect. You're watching the sales call and you're trying to close yourself. And I want you to, again, pay attention, close attention to the tonality. Watch what you say. Think to yourself, would I close myself on this call?
That's actually a really good one, because I feel like people think they can close other people, but they wouldn't even pay themselves.
I always tell clients this, because obviously you run an agency where people are trying to scale with paid ads, right? And they think It's just the leads, right? Just give me the leads and I'm going to close them, right? If they're qualified, they'll pay me money. And it's a pipe dream, right?
So many people say that, bro.
And it's like, you know, they hop on calls and they're like, dude, like, why aren't they closing, right? Well, the thing is, you watch the call back and you realize the guy had money. He had a problem. You didn't close him. It's your fault, right? So watching your calls back, it brings so much clarity. And I like to compare it to a sport, right? Like if you're a basketball player, right? What are you doing with your games? You're watching your games back, right? There's film. You have to do that, right? Yeah, and it's just going to make it so much more actionable for you to actually make real improvements, right? Because in your head, you think you sound a certain way, and then you watch the call back, and you're like, holy shit, what am I doing? You know what I mean? I did this myself for over a year, religiously every day with one of our guys on the team, Jake. And made a huge difference. So that's probably the biggest actionable thing I would say that you could do today. But the overarching thing is like, look, I didn't get to where I'm at like just by myself, right? Like I got help from multiple people. Nobody that's good at this just did it on their own. Every good salesperson that's been doing this for a while, right? They got help.
It just fast tracks your success to actually improving your close rate pretty much.
Yeah, it's like you could do everything perfectly, right? Even this video is a form of help, right? But like,
good point.
Like you could fast track your close rate by yourself, just watching videos and you know, like technically, you know, just getting the stuff, which it's better than nothing, right? But if you really want to become a good closer, look, you got to realize this shit, it's not as easy as it looks, right? And you probably realize that if you're taking calls right now. My biggest piece of advice is, look, you pay money for coaching. Does it hurt a little bit at the beginning? Yeah, I mean, you paid money. Like nobody likes watching a couple grand leave their bank, right? But the thing is, it's going to help you tenfold, right? If my close rate is 5%, I'll tell you right now, you have clients come in all the time, 5% close rate. Hell, I even have my own coaching offer, right? Client comes in 5-10% close rate, their close rate doubles, triples in the span of like a month or two, right?
I feel like one thing that actually like the reason why that does happen sometimes is because they actually have put down some sort of financial commitment and now they almost have to change it. Yeah, I mean, like people think that they can just watch all these free YouTube videos online about like, I mean, it's funny we're saying that because we're literally making one, but people think that they can just like implement all this advice they see online, but like you're not going to implement it to the same sort of degree as if you actually paid for coaching and then implemented that feedback, because you've actually put yourself in a position where you need to succeed now.
Well, the biggest feedback that I think, right, because here's the thing, in terms of processes, like videos like this, you'll find most good processes are online on YouTube, right?
It's like anything.
It's not you don't pay for coaching to learn how to sell. You pay for coaching to help you sell more. Right? And that's going to come in the form of feedback from someone who really knows what they're doing. And the thing is, you can't find that on YouTube.
Love it, bro. Yeah. That was some good info. I appreciate you hopping on. Yeah. If you guys want to hop on a call with Sam, his link to his calendar will be in the description. You can get some free value and he's going to help you out a lot with sales. If you want to learn more about marketing and how to actually put those calls in your calendar, I've got a link to my calendar in the description too. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. Anything else you want to leave for the viewers, bro?
Looking forward to talking.
Enough said. Catch you later, boys.